Coming up next is a fireside chat on marching towards seamless road connectivity with Siba Nayak, President, Corporate Affairs and Development, ETInfra Projects Limited. This session will be moderated by Megha Manchanda, Assistant Editor, Digital Content, ETInfra. Over to you, Megha.
We would like to welcome Mr. Siba Nayak, who is President Corporate Affairs, ETInfra, which is a key player in the infrastructure space. Mr. Nayak is not new to the sector. He's a stalwart in this sector. He has worked with the National Highways Authority of India previously, and his work is known to everybody in the sector. Mr. Nayak, let me start by asking you that what are the key policy initiatives which you feel are needed to actually increase the infrastructure growth story in the country from where it is right now?
Yeah, thank you, Megha. As far as key policy initiatives are concerned, let me, broadly divide into two or three categories. Okay. There are many issues which is coming up. If I take two buckets initially, which is really directly impacting to the, policy issues as far as road projects are concerned, I would put the fiscal and financial policies as one bucket. It contains many more things. You might be seeing HAM projects is gaining momentum, road construction is gaining momentum. So the policy also has to catch up the momentum. So as far as funding policy is concerned, first comes the budgetary support, for the executing agency like NHAI. What happens is that once these policies are not firm, so probably it gives a very, very kind of, weak signal to the market. And it somehow brings down the confidence level of the developers as well. So what I am trying to say here is that in the financial or fiscal policy, you need to have a strong budgetary support policy because, NHA has been, bit over leveraged in the recent years. Then how to tap the pension and hedge funds, which have a longer tenure to fund, capital intensive projects like road. Then you need to continuously improve the FDI policies. So these are as far as the resources are concerned. So just to keep the wheels running, naturally you have to also come out with some kind of asset monetization policy, then in it how it has to be made more easier, more friendly for the foreign investors. Then going back to the private sector, they need two things: funding as well as their own credit, rating as well. Without that, probably they cannot be sustainable in the BOT projects, particularly HAM projects as well. So this credit enhancement schemes, then counter guarantee mechanism. Apart from that, the taxation issues, GST in the recent period has been a very, very intense debating point as far as GST implication on annuities are concerned. So what I'm trying to say is that these policies has to be really firm. Government has taken a very, very rightful attitude last year, telling that, in the current year, I should say, instead of allowing NHI to borrow money from the market, the government is coming forward to support it. Rather, they might resort to some kind of fundraising, which will be cheaper as well as, most trustworthy also. So what I'm trying to say is that this is one part of it. The other part is the operational policies. When I'm talking about operational policies, what happens is that it all depends on the contractual documents. So contract documents are, constructed some 10 years, 15 years back. Of course, there are some amendments being made intermittently, but that is not sufficient. Probably it needs that it has to be rewritten in entirety. Why I'm telling so is that you see the BOT amendment was done, BOT toll projects I am talking about, but even that BOT toll, was undergoing substantial amendments. It is not attracting, developers to bid for the projects. So what I am trying to say is that this is continuous improvement in the contractual documents, whether it is the RFP or whether it is the model concession agreements and any allied documents which is related to a contract. Then coming to the project preparedness, though once again there are substantial improvements in the project preparedness by the executing authority, still a lot is desired. I mean, once you are awarding a project and holding the project for 6 months altogether for whatever reason, not getting land or clearances, whatever. So the project, farm policy on project preparedness. I mean, unless you reach that milestones, the project should not be launched for bidding itself. Then coming to the another teething point today, what is happening is regarding the minor materials. Minor materials. What I'm referring to is sand, borrowed earth, as well as aggregates. These are state subjects, and though there is a framework of signing an agreement, that is what is the state support agreement. Even then, the kind of policy which is there, it is not supporting the developers. So we must do something on that part as well. So when the project is bidded, we must identify the sources. That requires two things. It will be easier for the developer to get that. Second, the quality is ensured. Once it is not, source is not identified, you never know what will be the quality. Then the other thing is capacity building. We are talking about, the quantum of road projects, it is being bidded now or it is being awarded now. You need capacity building in a continuous way, but that does not mean you should sideline the bigger players which has a substantial overhead burden on them. They can't compete with small players, executing one project. So there is to be a staggered capacity building. I mean, some kind of cap is there for smaller players so that continuously we are, kind of building capacity and leave bigger projects the bigger developers so that the operations are smooth and simultaneously we are building capacity. Then, of course, there is one other thing probably on policy issues is about your independent agencies. I'm talking about lenders engineer, I'm talking about lenders auditor, I'm talking about independent engineers. There is a problem of manpower, there is a problem of, unbiased decision making. So probably it has to be addressed appropriately at some point of time. I'm not very sure how to go about it because, you have the problem of manpower and all. So with that, I should say these are the issues which required to be put on a firm footing. And in fact, there should be a policy cell continuously monitoring and updating all those policies time and again during the, course of execution also.
That's right, sir. And how do you see the private sector getting any kind of leverage from these policies? What kind of advantage does the private sector have when you have these policies in place?
See, as far as the current scenario is concerned in highways sector, right? Government has just constrained resources. I mean, they don't have much of resources to, match the kind of amount required for the, road sector. Now coming to that, who is the player? Either you are awarding it is in the EPC or it is on HAM or it is on BOT. Except EPC where you need substantial money, government needs substantial money to execute. The other two projects really needs the developers to act on that. Taking once again the HAM, what is the, current scenario, it is the most, successful model, I should say. Even then, you see the kind of volume. It is 300 plus projects, awarded till date with a project cost of more than 3.5 lakh crores, wherein you require more than 2 lakh crores to be brought in, brought in by the private developers. So as far as gain is concerned, there is two-way gain. One is that projects are available abundantly, since the competition, or rather the aggressive competition, I should say. If you take that out, it is gaining, the private sector is gaining a lot. The reason being in HAM projects, 40% upfront, payment is they are receiving. So their stress on the resource mobilization is a bit less. But simultaneously, it is adding to their value. If I am a good, pipeline of awards and I am earning a bit, higher with a higher margin, sustainable margin I am talking about. I'm not talking about higher margin. See, there are two-way, profit is available. One is that if you are executing the project as an EPC contractor as well within the group. So you have double-edged earning on that. Once you are having some kind of earning on the EPC contract, as well as because you are investing some kind of equity and also taking the financial risk. Naturally, some kind of risk award comes from that. So you have two-pronged, kind of returns you are getting. So in a long run, you are capturing the value from these BOT projects. If you see, if it is a good project, well thought out bid, you see no developer has lost any money. Rather, one of such you see for ETInfra, where I am working in today, you see how phenomenal our IPO success was. I mean, it is just listed for double, and it is continue to sustaining the same kind of share. I mean, investors' interest in it. The second thing comes is that when you grow in the scale, what happens is that you tend to go into the complex part of it. So what we choose as a big player is that, for that matter, any developer, is that we just go forward to the higher level. You say tunneling, you say high altitude bridges, you take mountainous regions, roads. So their competition is bit less, and we become more competitive. And when we are talking about more competitive, means we expect a bit of more profit as well. So the private developer are immensely benefited because of these two reasons, that there is a sustainable or award line is there. There is no dearth of project as far as our revenue visibility is concerned. The second thing is that we are continuously also upgrading our skill to the global level, because you are pushed to do that because of obvious reasons.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for shedding light on these matters, sir. You were the best person to have these topics discussed. So thank you so much for your time. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thanks, Omega. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nayak and Megha, for an interesting and meaningful dialogue. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll proceed further to the next session.